Welcome back, everyone. In this video, our goal is to demonstrate how to move landscape components to another level for streaming purposes. Now, I am currently in my map sculpting level here, and I've only got one landscape actor present in my world outliner, but you saw me do a few videos back where I had more than one landscape actor within the same level. So now just imagine if I had 2, 3, 4 of these guys out here in this level. I can make it in such a way where certain components from different landscape actors are streamed in when certain other landscape actors are streamed in, and vice versa. For example, I could have a second one over here, and I could have half of it being streamed in whenever this actor is loaded in, and then the other half can come in through some scripting. Now, if all that is a little confusing, just stay right here and we'll show how this is done. Currently, I am in my landscape mode, and over in the Manage tab, I have this Move to Level tool selected. Now, currently, it doesn't seem like we can really do much. I don't see a cursor or anything like that. And that's because we need to add a new level and then populate that new level with a landscape actor. So this is how we're going to do it. First things first, under your Windows menu at the very top, make sure that you have your levels window checked on. I have mine on right down here next to my content browser, and it looks something like this. You're going to see some blue text that says persistent level. This is our persistent level right here, and currently it consists of my landscape actor. It's in blue, meaning it is loaded in and it is my current level, loaded and current. So we need to create a new level here, and an easy way that we can do this directly from our Levels tab is right here from this Levels drop down. I'm going to select this. We're going to create new. We're going to get this little pop-up saying what kind of level do you want to create. We'll create a default level here, and it's going to say where would you like to save it. Let's save it in our landscape maps folder right here, and I will call this, let's call it landscape _2 _stream _in, and then I will click save to save that. Now, as soon as I do that, you're going to see I have another level that has populated here in my levels browser called landscape to stream in. It's currently showing that this is the current and loaded in one because it's in blue text. And you can see down here it shows that what level am I in, the persistent level or the landscape to stream in level. I am currently within my landscape to stream in level. What does this mean? I mean, I'm seeing the same thing that I was before. This doesn't really make a lot of sense. Well, let's do a little experiment here. Currently, this landscape to stream in level is my currently loaded in level. Now, I'm just going to place a couple of cubes out here into my world. One, it's way down there. Let me just tap the F key to focus up on it. And you know what? I'm going to make this way bigger. So let me just bring on my scale tool. And I'm going to make this kind of ginormous. Like so. And I'll just duplicate this by holding down the Alt key and creating another copy. And then creating another copy. So we've got these 3 cubes out here. Now, if I was to hide this landscape level to stream in down in our levels browser here by clicking on this little eyeball icon, you will see that the cubes have magically disappeared. That's because I added those cubes to this landscape level to stream in. Now note, if I turn this back on, they will show back up. But if I hide my persistent level back here, my landscape actor goes away, but my cubes stay in. And that is because in my persistent level, that is where my landscape actor lives. These cubes live in this landscape to stream in. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to delete out these cubes 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to actually create a landscape actor that's going to live in our landscape to stream in. Now, it should be blue like this. That means it is the current level and it is loaded in. And the way you can make it turn blue like this is by right-clicking on it and making it current. The current level is the one that you are adding things to. So we want it to be blue before we make this new landscape. So here we go. Coming up under our landscape tab, we're going to come under our manage tab, and we are going to create a brand new landscape. We can leave the material as such. We don't really need to enable edit layers because we're not really going to be dealing with that. But what the heck, we'll check it on. Everything here is going to be fine. We can see our preview out there. It's going to be a little bit smaller than this other landscape. That's okay. Let's simply create. And now we've got a second landscape to deal with. Right away, let's go ahead and rename this landscape because we've currently got two of them named the same thing. So I'm going to select our landscape here. This is not the one that we want to select because this one has our landscape material instance applied to it. So that's this big guy. We want to select this landscape, and I know that that is the proper one right here because you can see that I've got my landscape ground grass applied to it when we created it. So just to avoid any confusion, I'm going to call this landscape underscore new. And then I'm going to jump quickly into placement mode. And with my landscape new selected here, I'm going to simply drag it off to the side, something like that. Now, the next thing we want to do is jump on over to our landscape edit mode. We want to make sure that we are in the manage mode. And of course, over along the left-hand side, we want to make sure that we have our move to level selected. Now, currently up here, it says landscape new. That is the landscape that we want to work within. However, I still don't see any kind of landscape component cursor out here to select from a new landscape. Well, what is going on? Well, I currently still have my landscape to stream in set as my current level. What I want to do is I want to be able to move components from my landscape new, this landscape over here, to my persistent level. So what I need to do is I need to make my persistent level be the current level. So I'm going to right click on this, make it current. So now that level is blue, and now you can see that when I've done that, now my component selector is present on my new landscape. So let me just fly on over here now. Give it a little bit better visual. You can see all those components making up my new landscape. So all I need to do to move these components to this landscape down here is to simply select them. Of course, I can change my brush size here to select a wider swath at a time. I'm going to leave this at 1. And so I'm simply just going to select, 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 and select. I selected those 4 in the lower right-hand corner. And now if I hide out my persistent level here, you will see that they are now a part of my persistent level and no longer a part of my landscape to stream in. Let me just bring that back here quickly. Now, for the sake of brevity, I just did a short camera cut here and I moved my player start actor much closer to those components that I moved to my persistent level here. So I could jump in and play, and you will see that as I get close to the edge of my persistent level here, and there's my mountain range off in the background, you can see that those particular components have been added to my persistent level. Now, just a quick note, when we did add our landscape level to stream in and we created that new level, we did add double of all of our different actors here. We did add a second player start, a second skylight, a second sky sphere. Technically, you don't need all that, and in fact, after this video, I'm going to clear all this out, but it's worth pointing out. Okay, now anyways, what if I want to make my landscape to stream in, this part that is all not visible when I click play? How do we make that stream in then? Well, what we can do is through script, tell it to stream in. So currently, I've got my persistent level in blue. That means it is the current level. That is the one that I'm working in. And if I add anything to my level right now, cubes or spheres or whatever, it would be added to my persistent level. I can add some script to this level's level blueprint. And I can do that right over here with this little controller icon. I can open the level blueprint for my persistent level. That is this level currently with the mountains and whatnot. So I'm going to open this up. And you thought we weren't going to do any scripting. Shame on you. Well, first thing, before we do any scripting inside of here, I need to add a trigger volume to my persistent levels because we can't really do much without a trigger volume. So I'm going to jump back to my level here, and I'm going to jump over to the modes panel, and I'm going to add a box trigger down around where my player spawns in. So here is a box trigger. I'm going to place that into my level and make it significantly bigger. Let's see, our box extents here in the Y. I'm going to set that to be something like 5,000, something big. The X, we'll set that to be 2,000. The Z, let's make that be 2,000 as well, something nice and tall. It's essentially a wall of a trigger volume. All right, I'm going to just scooch it over to the side right here. I don't want my player to spawn in it, but rather I want him to walk inside of it. Okay, so with this trigger box selected, let's go back to our level blueprint. And again, you can access it right here, or alternatively, blueprints, open level blueprint. And I'm going to right click. We're going to add an event for trigger box 01. We're going to do an on begin overlap. Now, I'm currently using a third person character. So what I can do is I can drag out of this other actor and cast to third person character. When something overlaps this trigger box, it can output information, and in this case it can output who was the other actor. And what this will do, this casting to the third person, is it will check, was that the third person? If it was, we'll fire out of here. If it was not the third person that overlapped me, we can fire out of here. All we want to do is, if it was the third person character, we're going to drag out a wire and we're going to load stream level. There we go. And now we need to tell it what level name do we want to stream in. Well, we want it to stream in, and you got to type this in exactly, our landscape underscore to underscore stream underscore in. And we want to make this visible after loading. So there's your script. Let's compile here and make sure it looks all good, and it does. Let's save. I'm going to jump in and play. And the trigger volume is somewhere in front of me. Currently, we see just those few components that we added to our persistent level, that we moved to our persistent level. And as I get closer to the trigger volume, boom, you saw all that land extending beyond. That added to our entire world. If you didn't see that, let's watch a little bit more closely. I'm going to play again. Watch as I get closer to the trigger volume. You're going to see some land appear out yonder. Here we go. There it is. Just kind of popped into existence. A little bit hard to see from a low profile like this, but hopefully you caught that. All right, guys, what's a sample case for using this? Well, maybe you have a setup in your level where, say, you're approaching the entrance to, say, a train tunnel that is present in the side of a mountain, and you need to see the tunnel from a distance. Once you approach the tunnel, then you can stream in the other landscape level. So that could be a sample used for something like that. All right, guys, that's going to do it all for this one on how to move landscape components from one level to another. Coming up next, we got changing component size tool. We'll see you there.